This ACHASM Symposium today, a team approach to zero fatalities, injuries and disease in construction, is an annual occurrence. The theme this year is what it is because of the need to pursue the noble vision of overall zero harm. Ultimately, workers earn a living. They do not want to earn death, injury or occupational disease. And in any case, their earning capacity is marginalized. That's if they're not killed, of course. So this requires a team approach as per the symposium theme. You could argue in a sense, same, nothing different in terms of outcomes. The industry is still generating fatalities, it's still generating injuries and of course disease. And there are recurring problems, or should we say challenges, in the form of a lack of commitment, but inadequate commitment, inadequate resourcing, and of course inadequate training, that's health and safety training specifically, because the workforce and supervisors and management for that matter need to be empowered to firstly to provide leadership in terms of managing the construction process and its activities, but also the supervisors who actually supervise the workplace, which of course includes supervising in terms of health and safety, and then the workers need to be empowered. So they need to be informed in order to be empowered.
There's a whole plethora of issues that we have to take into account when we deal with education of health and safety to the workforce. It's not only the workforce, but let's look at, for example, in many cases contractors are required to employ labor from the surrounding areas or neighborhoods, and they have to go on an induction. That is one of the challenges. The other challenge is, for example, in terms of the cost implications or perceived cost implications of health and safety. Where contractors are now looking and sort of asking clients to specify and allow for a health and safety allowable within the contract documentation. In terms of the CIDB's role, we have a number of best practices. For example, we're looking at competence of the staff of contractors. We're also looking at the skills development standards that we are currently implementing, where part of it could be health and safety, for instance. And that would then sort of improve the health and safety on the construction site.
From incident investigations, fatalities and collapses and so on, we find most of these things actually have its roots in the upper streams, I would say, of management. So the root cause of most of the problems we find is linked with the failure of management. That's one of the key problems that we actually have, the failure of management to ensure compliance with the regulations.
The need of registration, first of all, we're talking in this conference about zero harm, is to ensure that we've got competent people on our sites operating. And people can only be classified or referred to as competent if they've been assessed through a certain standard process that would apply to all. Because now you don't want anyone to just say they are expert and experts. By whose standards? So there should be a standard in place to measure their competence, and that is the reason why the registration is there. And the benefits is that you'll have a database of the registered persons. If at all there's any issues, there's a legal recourse. And also from the side of the SACPCMP, there's a code of conduct that they need to adhere to. And there's a whole lot of overarching benefits for both the client, the employer, and the industry at large. So it's not just a process of registering for the sake of registering. I think in this conference we shared the whole statistics, scary statistics on the injuries, the fatalities that we are having on sites. Hence we are saying we are coming together as a different stakeholders to say how can we go towards zero harm.
The pursuit of the vision, zero fatalities, injuries and disease, is an absolute must. It's not a should or possibly. It's an absolute must. It's a noble pursuit which all stakeholders should and must identify with. And particularly if you're a worker in the industry, or a family member related to a worker in the industry. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, it's a team effort. And thirdly, people need to be empowered at all levels in the industry.